This is going to be a controversial one, I know, and this is like one lick to make you, maybe it should be help you sound like Paul Kossoff, right? And you know, I started there with, you know, the wailing vibrato that you hear on Catch a Train. That was the Catch a Train chords, you know, I played at the start. Do you know? You get this inversion. And then Koss waves down with that. You know, that kind of wailing note, right? Now, already there's probably someone somewhere saying, dude, turn down the gain, dude. Koss never used that amount of gain. Turn down your gain, dude, right? So, let me tell you, Paul Kossoff played through a Marshall at stun volume. Now, if you don't think that's gain, we're living in a different planet, you know? Now, in the same song, in Catch a Train, there's a very mellow section where Paul plays, which you might say, well, that's pretty clean, you know? And it is, but those two sections sit side by side in the same song. In Free Me, on the Free Second album, you hear him play that, you know, from the kind of bluesy background. That's transitioning between Tons of Sobs, Free, and Fan Water, which is obviously the breakout because of the big hit that we all know. So, how do we sound like Paul Kossoff, right? Now, I have said this 100 times, and I think I'm on the point of boring everyone to death. And I think everyone's entrenched in you know, the battle lines have been drawn up, right? I think it's 95% in your hands, 5% in the equipment, you know. If you want to go and buy the Gibson Paul Kossoff Signature Les Paul, which last time I looked was about 5,500, it's maybe near 10,000 now, and find a Marshall, you know, 50 head or 100 watt head, source of basket weave cab, you know, and start, you know, throwing around terms like plexi. I might add, you know, the plexi amps were only made till 1969. You know, they were obviously used after that. Like, you know, my kettle was probably manufactured about, you know, 2010, but I've used it ever since. You know, so they're used, but you know, it's a Marshall amp. You know, way back in the day when we were kids, we called it a second-hand Marshall. Anyway, you can do that. That's one way to do it, right? But that won't get you within 1,000 miles of Paul Kossoff. The other way, I would say, you could have a Yamaha Pacifica. Nothing against them; they're great guitars. Maybe a little Squire practice amp, and you could play along with Fire and Water twice every night. Right now, I know we've all got commitments, but you could do that. I think the album's 32 minutes long. If you could do that, just play along with every song. Starting with, you know, start with that, and end with All Right Now. And in my book, that would get you a lot closer, right? But this kind of dialogue isn't really helping. The idea here is that I say, here's how I think you could get, you know, as close as mere mortals can to Paul's sound. Now, here's a really important bit, in my opinion. On Fire and Water, on Oh I Wept, you know, it's a very, very strange major minor type song. You know, it's got a very rock and roll. Got that chord, and then he plays this major minor, C sharp, E, G, to an E, and it's got the bit that, you know, I think we all love, that goes, sorry, right, middle of it, Paul plays, see, hopefully, Paul's playing around with the timing, with the meter, and he plays this incredibly passionate solo that I think a lot of Free fans, they would say, that's my favourite Paul Kossoff solo, the solo he played in Oh I Wept. Now if you fast forward a couple of studio albums, past the live one, into the one I started with, which was Catch a Train, you'll find Paul's vibrato is now like, it's more hysterical, it's wider, it's wild, it's very different from the it's suddenly it's far more akin to that, you know. And in the middle, you know, Paul plays. You know? And he's playing this hellacious, you know, wide wailing vibrato. Right? So how do we get like a Paul Kossoff lick? And what do we do? I mean, we might, you know, like I said, we might take the voicings. You know, we might put that in our playing to give us a flavour of what Paul did, or, you know, this is incredibly elegant again. You know, if you want, take the tone down. Right? Or we might, as I say, take some of the, you know, country lights they played on Catch a Train. Or we might take the really hellacious stuff. You know? You know? That's the end of the Stealer. So he was doing a wild vibrato then, but I think for the most part, his sound was, you know, so you could obviously do with, and this will, you know, huge bend. Here it comes. You know? So, what would we pick as one lick to sound like Paul Kossoff? I would pick this, right? I'm going to change pickup doing it, right? So if we started with a very elegant, you know, now I haven't taken that note for any of the songs. It's a little bit like what he plays in Fire and Water, but this leads into a lick that is not perfectly in pitch, and it's all the better for it. So here's my Paul Kossoff lick. Here it comes. Right. So in the key of A, we're playing a G. This will be with the ring finger. Then we're going to bend this D note. Now, where do we bend it to? Do we go up to E flat, or do we go right? I would say it's somewhere in between. So it's just a little bit edgy. You know, I would say that is closer to giving you the flavour of what Paul did. Obviously you can play it in any key. Back there. You know? So for what it's worth, that would be my one lick, and I'm going to put in brackets here to hopefully make you sound like Paul Kossoff. There's, I don't know, there's maybe 100,000 guys on the planet trying, you know, like me, occasionally to sound like Paul Kossoff, you know, or just appreciating the music. You know, it's 50 years ago, and you know, people will listen to this for as long as people listen to music, I think. So there you go, Paul Kossoff.